welcome to Offsite Dirt. Offsite Dirt really is the dirt about high performance building science, panelization, green tech, software, anything that really has to do with the construction industry. You're kind of hearing it here on Offsite Dirt. We have an amazing client with us today, RMI, and Lucas Toffoli. He is going to give us a little bit more understanding about construction, challenges, opportunities, what's happening in industrialized construction, and where are we growing and seeing these opportunities. Welcome, Louis. Thank you so much, Lucas, for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me, Audrey. Great to be here. We're at RMI, we're working on carbon-free buildings, among many other things. Buildings has been one of our focus areas for decades. And as part of that, we have established the RMI-led Advanced Building Construction Collaborative, or ABC Collaborative, with some support from Department of Energy, a couple of state agencies, and with our major partners on that effort are ADL Ventures, FIAS, Passive House Institute US, Association for Energy Affordability, and Vermont Energy Investment Corporation. So it's a great team, and we're really focusing on elements of construction modernization and industrialized construction there. And the motivation for all of that is this massive challenge and really opportunity that we're seeing in the building sector that is coming from climate change and also a housing shortage, more recently reevaluation of some commercial space uses, and a huge need for building retrofits, both for building quality and for climate change and decarbonization. Layered on top of all that is the fact that our building sector, as most of your listeners probably know, has been in a bit of a rut in terms of productivity for a number of decades. And where that's left us is with, probably a several million unit deficit of housing. We, also have issues with timelines and budgets on commercial construction as well. Now with the shift towards remote work, we have a lot of offices sitting empty, so office valuations are dropping. And we have this huge task ahead of us for retrofitting our existing building stock that's going to be difficult with our, frankly, kind of dwindling construction workforce and that trend in productivity that we've seen. On the residential retrofit side, we have around 125 million total housing units in the United States. And we recently undertook some research and analysis with Department of Energy and some of the national labs. That's going to be published in the hopefully not too distant future. And what we found was that around 40 million of those 125 million units can probably decarbonize with mainly an equipment swap out, so kind of like an electrification package. But about 75 million of those units are going to need some kind of a whole building retrofit, so some kind of envelope intervention. And that is a really big opportunity for modernized construction methods, streamlined technologies and processes, and just broadly speaking, this industrialized approach to construction. Really because we don't have, in our current construction industry, we don't have the capacity to deliver all of those building retrofits in addition to all the new housing units we need, in addition to the repurposing of commercial spaces between now and mid-century, which is kind of what we need to do both for people to have places to live and work and be comfortable, and to meet the climate goals.
Yes, I love that. And Lucas, just so our audience knows, why did you join our RMI? Where were you before this, and what is your position with the company?
Yeah, sorry, I kind of launched right into it.
I love it though. I love it. You're so passionate. It makes me so happy, and everything you're doing is what needs to be done. So we're excited about that, but we want to know about Lucas.
So yeah, thanks for asking. So I have been aware of RMI for a long time. I think RMI has probably existed for longer than I've existed. Have often read kind of reports and research, even when I was in previous jobs. I had the great fortune when I kind of put a pause on my professional life a number of years ago to go back to grad school. I had the great fortune of taking a class with Amory Levins, co-founder of RMI, that was done in conjunction with my university, and actually spending a week in Basalt, Colorado at the RMI Innovation Center, really getting steeped in this idea of integrative design as a mindset, as an approach to solving challenges, especially around things like efficiency and energy, and in particular with buildings. And I've always been interested in buildings and, you know, architecture, construction, how they come together, what's behind the scenes. You know, they're the things that kind of shape our lives, and yet a lot of times we don't pay that much attention to them. And then, you know, I also grew up with like an inconvenient truth and a lot of kind of compounding evidence around climate change and emissions, which buildings are obviously a big part of. So all those things kind of came together with, I guess, you know, good timing in being ready to, you know, re-enter the workforce after grad school at a time when RMI was looking for someone, you know, with my background. Before grad school, I worked in real estate, worked for a vertically integrated design, build, manage real estate firm in the Boston area, which is where I'm from. So that was a really fun job because I got to work on a lot of different things and really see every part of the process and participate in every part of the process. So that's a little bit about me. I did a number of other things before that too, because I think, like a lot of folks, I have kind of a you know, a varied and colorful work history.
I love that. We all need that. And I'm glad that you've had those experiences. And the whole reason you and I connected is I was watching you guys on LinkedIn and I was reading different articles, and I really love this ABC construction, or this advanced building construction. Can you give us a little bit of insight? What is that, and why is it so important right now, especially when we're looking at value and supply chains and those details?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of building on those challenges that I jumped right into and outlined a few minutes ago, in our mind, the answer to that is to improve both what we build and how we build it. And that sounds a little trite, but I'll say a little bit more about it. That's really what ABC, or advanced building construction, is about. It's kind of this intersection between high efficiency building decarbonization and streamlined industrialized construction methods. And it recognizes that those are complementary and really you know, mutually necessary in order to solve these big challenges. If we just double down on industrialized construction and we get, you know, better, faster at building things, there's the risk that we're going to build a lot more things that are not that great, and that then we're going to have to spend more time on to make them better. If we double down just on the efficiency piece, we can have a lot of really nice science projects. We can do some, you know, cool one-off buildings. But guess what? We have 125 million homes that are going to need some kind of attention, not to mention all the commercial buildings, not to mention all the buildings that we haven't yet built. And so we really need to infuse that high efficiency, decarbonized way of thinking and designing into the industrialized construction approaches, so that we can do the better stuff at speed and at scale. And in order to help support that, the ABC Collaborative brings together really a wide range of building sector stakeholders, from, you know, very new startups of 1 or 2 people all the way to some of the, you know, largest companies in the world in this space. And we provide kind of environments for different folks to interact with each other, learn from each other in ways and in combinations that they might not otherwise through our programming. We do some research and analysis and thought leadership, some tech scaling support for some of those emergent innovators. And then we try to bring it all together with our market scaling support, where we're actually trying to stimulate like pipelines of projects that can implement these kinds of solutions at scale in a replicable and systematic kind of way.
I love that. And I love that you are starting it from the people that are doing it, right? This is how we make the change. This is how we build better. And we have these expectations. There is a client that you guys have that is near and dear to my heart. Edie Dillman is one of the co-founders and owners of B Prefab Public, or B Public Prefab, B Public Prefab, right? I always like mix those up. I don't know what it is. I'm so sorry, Edie. But anyway, I know that they're a part of your group. What makes them special, or why did you feel that they would be such a good contributor to this group?
Yeah, and I'll start by taking a step back and saying that there's really a huge opportunity, as much as it feels overwhelming. There's a huge opportunity in everything I've said for forward-looking stakeholders across the value chain, large and small, to kind of shape and evolve the way that they do business and what they offer into the market to respond to these challenges in a way that's, constructive, and really that's beneficial not only to them but to the industry and to the country as a whole. One of the things or a few of the things that I really like about Be Public and Edie's team there is that they are thinking at different levels about how their business model and their approach can be constructive. So they have this like design kit of parts for high performance buildings. They've gone through a few different iterations of that to really have that continuous improvement, and they work with architects and builders to essentially take a concept of a building and convert it into their kind of kit of parts, so that then those panel systems essentially can be fabricated by a manufacturer that's ideally relatively close to the ultimate site, and then they can bring them on site. So that's sort of this systematized aspect of it. But then they also have this on the ground element where they have a training team that goes in with the builder that the owner or the project sponsor has chosen, and works with them kind of like in their sleeves in a sense on the first project, to really empower them to deliver these Be Public systems and to build them on site. And then for future Be Public projects done by that builder, now they have the training, they have the know-how to deliver those. So they're really both having this centralized, systematized design approach to ensure that high performance is infused in there. They have the training to make sure it's executed properly. But then they have that empowerment element where, rather than displacing local workforce, they're helping them grow to where the industry needs to be, and kind of seeding all of these these essentially small businesses, because most contractors in the US are just that, to be better at what they do and to kind of participate in this evolution and modernization of the construction industry. And on a personal note, Edie is just a delightful person to interact with. So recommend to everyone to seek her out.
I love that you've explained it so well, and you've really characterized all the different advances of what they're doing. Are you seeing these advances in any larger corporations with, building better, high performance, selecting materials, doing things to make construction a better streamlined process?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that's exciting about what we do is that we get to interact with all of these smaller innovators. So we really see kind of all the fun stuff that's bubbling up. But then we also get to engage, as I mentioned, with some of the largest companies in the industry. And many of those, despite being big incumbents who have been around for a long time, are really taking a critical look at where the industry is going and how their business and their structure and their priorities can work with that. So a couple of big ones that come to mind are Stow Corp, which is one of the largest building materials companies and envelope system companies in the world, and Owens Corning, which obviously everyone knows Owens Corning, the pink stuff in your walls in your house, and they're both thinking about, again, how to track their existing business models and their institutional knowledge, their expertise, their size toward where the market needs to go. So Stow has long been involved with envelope assemblies, and for a number of years they've been developing different kinds of panelized products And now they're really giving a lot of thought to how to kind of continue to evolve those product lines, but also how they can be applied in retrofit applications. For example, there's an example of a Stow light panel being deployed in a overclad retrofit in a New York demonstration last year, where they had considerations around, the weight of the panel because it was a light frame building, around minimizing disruption for the, the occupants of the building. So things that really fit well with what we're trying to do with the ABC Collaborative. So we're very happy to have Stow as part of our membership, as part of our network. And Owens Corning, they're coming from this place of, they've been a supplier of certain kinds of materials that they sort of put out into the market, and then builders, use those in certain ways. And now they're thinking about, well, the types of things we make need to go with the times. They need to be more responsive to, a need for more sophisticated systems, for more than just, an insulation product or, a particular, material that's going into the market. And so they're really thinking about how can they work with other actors in the market to, move towards like system-based products that are going to, be able to be used in, say, high performance new homes that go together quickly, or retrofit applications, where there's a need to kind of squeeze a lot of things into not a lot of space. So those are just a couple of examples, but I don't want to sell short any of our other great folks in our network, our great collaborators. We have, I think, more than 100 at this point, and a lot of those folks get the chance to talk about their work during our other programming with the collaborative working group sessions and things like that.
Well, thank God for, 2020. There was some crazy things that happened in that year and some really good things. Thank God the U.S. Department of Energy launched Advanced Building Construction Collaborative. I think it's wonderful that I had the opportunity to meet you and really learn. And I feel like it is learning and expanding, and we're starting to see industrialized construction, offsite construction solutions. We're starting to see more people thinking about, carbon, and thinking about collaborative different partners for materials and supplies and high performance. So it's exciting to see those 100 members. How do people get involved? Where can they collect information? And are there any requirements that they need to be aware of?
Yeah. Well, thanks for, giving me a minute to kind of, do the plug. So our website is the kind of the easiest way to get in touch with us, advancedbuildingconstruction.org. And that has a good amount of information, including some publications, both ours and some other relevant publications from industry, some resources for collaborators. It has a bit of information about our thematic working groups, obviously as a contact form. And the question of requirements is, that's a good one, because we are trying to build a kind of a broad and a big tent movement here. So it's not so prescriptive in terms of the type of company or the size of company or exactly what they do, or I shouldn't even just say company, because we have a lot of entities that are not companies that are part of the collaborative. What it really comes down to is a commitment to that advanced building construction mindset. And whether that means, already having a mature product that is in the market that is part of the ABC space, or just saying, hey, we need to learn more about this because we have some buildings that might benefit from this, or hey, we're developing a material that we think would fit into this ecosystem, or we're a government entity and we want to see if there's an opportunity for us to support this or carry the learning somewhere else. All of those are good reasons, and we have those and more as part of our network. So really encourage folks who have heard what we talked about today and feel like it resonates with them to reach out and and get involved. And right now we're in a fortunate position where we have the support from Department of Energy. So it is kind of open collaboration. We're not charging membership fees at the moment, and we're really trying to, build a network that is vibrant, that is rich, that is accessible, again, to a very wide range of actors, because what we don't want to do is kind of box out folks who maybe haven't had the chance to participate in the conversation in the construction space, and leave an opportunity for greater diversity of perspectives, of thoughts, of approaches, and of people.
You are talking my language. It's all about inclusivity. It's all about conversations and building better. Thank you, Lucas, for joining us at RMI and telling us more about the Advanced Building Construction Collaborative. If you don't know about it, you have resources. Check out their website. It's really important that we start thinking about how we're building, taking not only new construction, but also retrofits. We have to start designing and building better. And this is one way that we can do that and get involved. The website is advancedbuildingconstruction.org. Make sure you check it out. Again, thank you so much for being here, Lucas. We really appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been my pleasure.
And that's another wrap up for Offsite Dirt. Learn, express, talk, collaborative. Make sure that we're having these conversations so that we can do innovation, we can do industrialized construction, we can build better, and we have the resources to do that. Have a great day, and thank you again for being here on Offsite Dirt.